Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is a one-on-one interview with Steve from the 1958. Good to see you back on the channel, Steve.
Yeah, good to see you.
We want to talk to you about ticket prices. Obviously, it's an issue that affects many Manchester United fans and fans of other clubs as well. Just tell us a little bit about sort of the current issues going on with these price hikes and these concession changes that we're seeing and how it's affecting people.
I think and again, we're talking about sort of across the Premier League, well, football in general, but in this instance, the FSA have set up a campaign that's been ongoing for a while, where they've got banners, they've issued banners to all the Premier League clubs, and there's been a show of solidarity between fans, just as a get together, pictures with the banner, and it's fans against price hikes. I think, in fairness, we've been quite fortunate over the years, but that's we've got potentially a new ground or a revamped Old Trafford that needs paying for. The survey that we put out, the results from that, we've had, I think, over 21,000 people have actually completed the survey. The new ground versus redevelopment, that's kind of the same. It mirrors what United's survey was, which was slightly in favour of a new stadium.
Yeah.
But I think where the massive, for us, the massive thing is that fans do not want a stadium to be paid for by hikes in prices of tickets, match day tickets, whether it's season tickets, whether it's your normal match day tickets. So it's a concerning time, and to see it across all of football, and not just necessarily ourselves, it is a time where the FSA have said, let's make a stand.
You talk about that make a stand and the Stop Exploiting Loyalty campaign. What can you tell us about that? What is it, and how can people sort of get involved?
Well, we were contacted by a member of the FSA, which is another football team, with regards to would we like to get involved in the protesting. It seems that any form of protest that have been put forward at Old Trafford have been, let's just say, subdued. So our supporters club haven't really been forthcoming. In fact, nobody knew that they had a banner up. They never informed anyone, and people were a little bit frustrated with that, and they wanted, we're the biggest fan base certainly in the Premier League across the world, and they didn't feel that we were sort of getting involved enough. So as a result of that, we've got we'll be having a protest joint with Everton fans prior to the game on Sunday. Time is TBA. We'll sort of, through our socials and probably our website, we'll put out an exact time, and it's just come down, show some solidarity. There'll be press there. We'll hold the banner up. We have contacted the club. I know a few Premier League clubs have been allowed the banner into the ground, and we have contacted the club twice now. Haven't had a response yet, and well, we'll see. But,
yeah, we'll wait and see on that front. Obviously, like you said earlier, this is something that's affecting not just Manchester United fans, but fans of other clubs. There's the Everton fans as well. We've seen before when fans of clubs get together, what that can achieve, because sometimes people might look at it, and we know people can be sceptical and people can be, what's the point, or is this going to change anything? But we have seen in the past where fans come together and protest things, and it can evoke change. We've seen that firsthand at Manchester United.
Well, the European Super League was a great example of that.
100%.
When enough's enough for football fans in general, the everything they put into supporting the football team, when seemingly that's being threatened, then they'll take action.
Yeah.
And at the minute, they are peaceful protests, and we are supporting that.
100%. We've heard justification from these price increases before, price increases before, where it says, you know, it allows the club to operate on a sustainable basis and things like that. What do you make of it when you hear those reasons for ticket prices being increased? What would you say to people that say, oh, well, you know, is there some justification there?
I think you've got to look at the new commercial and broadcasting revenue for the Premier League over the next 3 years, so from 25 onwards, that's raised by 17%, and that income will generate £12.2 billion for the Premier League. So I think where the frustration lies with fans is, you know, that there's enough money coming in, whether it's through TV broadcasting rights or just, you know, general commercial rights. There's enough money coming in. The matchday fan doesn't need to take it on the chin as well. It just feels like it's unnecessary greed.
How concerned are you, Steve? Because I worry about this, to be honest with you, about it getting more and more difficult for some fans to go to the game in terms of not just price increases. Everyone's in, you know, there's a cost of living increase, you got these price increases. There may even be that element of, you know what, the football's not always great. It's not always, you know, we're not always sort of challenging where we should be. Plus, you've got price increases. You know, it just gets a little bit more difficult and a little bit more difficult. And I always worry, like, especially younger fans that are coming through, how many of them are going to be going, like, do you know what? I'm not going to bother going. Do you know what I mean? Because it can happen quite easily where fans can go, I'll miss this game, or I'll not bother because I just can't afford it, which I can always understand. I can always sympathise with. I
think for me that the main concern is, as you've just mentioned, is with the youth.
Yeah.
You know, these are the fans that we'll be passing the baton on to as you know, we stop going to games, and I don't feel there's enough incentive for the youth. Oh, there used to be that incentive for the youth with concession prices for under a certain age, and it's things like that that are getting taken away. I mean, we've seen examples of the other end of the scale where the sort of OAP concessions are being removed by clubs. I mean, you know, it stinks. It's not the way to treat a loyal fan base, and you know, human nature is if you're not treated right constantly, at some point you'll break and you'll turn your back.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what we don't want to see. Certainly from the youth aspect, where these are our future generational fans that will be, you know, supporting the Reds long after we're not here.
And that has an effect. That affects everyone. That affects the team. That affects every fan, even if you're not going. That can be a domino effect that can, you know, have serious repercussions for the football club.
I agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
One, I always ask you this, and I think it's important as well, because the people watching who can't get to games, who don't go to Old Trafford, or, you know, rarely go to Trafford or whatever, but want to get involved, want to help. What's the message to the people? That is it just spreading the word on social media, getting involved in that way? What would you say to anyone who's sort of interested in fighting a cause but might not necessarily be at the Everton game? Or
it is, I mean, you know, you can visit a simple Google search, because I don't have the website.
We'll put a link in the description.
For the FSA.
Yeah.
All the campaigns are on there. You know, they are fighting quite, you know, strongly for the governing body for the Premier League, and they're heavily involved in that. And to me, they're kind of bit of an unsung hero that's not, you know, they're not in the limelight, but to me, that's where we as matchday fans sort of step up and, you know, show our solidarity, you know, show these sort of small protests at the minute, but the solidarity between, you know, rival fans, you know, the rivalry will continue as, you know, as soon as the ball's kicked.
Yeah.
That's football. But, you know, they need to understand is that everybody's on board with this. And if it doesn't stop or it's not regulated in some way, then these voices will get louder.
Just one final question. How important, you talk about solidarity between different sets of fans, and I completely agree with that. How important is it we show that same solidarity within Manchester United fan base as well, and we try and, you know, come together? Because that's half the battle, and I know the 58 have always been trying to get everyone to sort of get on board and, you know, get their voices heard and join in that conversation as well. How important is that?
I think, yeah. I mean, you'll never please all the people all the time. I've learned that.
Yeah, trust me. We know that on this channel.
Yeah. But for me, we'll keep pushing and doing what we believe is right.
Yeah.
And we've had the same mindset from day one, and you know, throughout our protesting campaigns, they've been impactful. You know, you go onto the FC58's website. You know, there's numbers on there that are, and I think sometimes people just need to educate themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, have a look at our website. I'm sure you'll put a link on at the end.
Link in the description as always. You know me too well, Steve.
Yeah. But you know, there's a lot of information on there, and it's. I don't think you can learn enough about your own football club. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you know, I get that ticket pricing and potentially the ownership of the club that's not changed yet, maybe not affect fans that sort of the other end of the world and watch the odd game. I understand that, but what they need to understand as well is that without the fan base, without the match-going fan base, there is no atmosphere. As Sir Matt Busby said, you know, football's nothing without fans. And whether that's fans watching 5,000 miles away or on the terraces at Old Trafford. And I just think there kind of needs to be, and it might be a pointless comment, but solidarity within our own fan base would be a massive step forward. Everybody's not going to agree on everything. We all have opinions. That's football, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, some things are worth fighting for, and, you know, understanding and safeguarding the future of football for, you know, the working class, then, you know, that's something we should all be involved in.
100%, Steve. Always a pleasure chatting to you. Go and check out the links in the description that Steve's spoken about. If you can get down to the Everton game and take part in the process, great. If you can't, there's other ways to get involved, like we've spoken about. And obviously, we'll be chatting to you guys again near the time as well. That's been Steve from the 1958. I'm Jay. This has been a little chat about ticket prices, something that affects us all. Thanks for watching.